Hi everyone. Welcome to the 7th episode of Writers Infusion. My name is Susan, your host. I am here with Ray, Dave, Julie, Ed, and our writer Joe is with us today, so we're very happy to have him. Julie's going to read his story and then we'll start the critique.
Damsel in distress. It was a dark and stormy night as Jessica Snow drove along the treacherous curves of Highway 13. Or rather, she hoped she was still on Highway 13. At 10 p.m., she veered off the interstate to take what she thought was a shortcut through the mountains. With pounding rain, she wasn't sure if she missed the road sign and was driving along some back road leading to who knows where. It was now 1 minute to midnight, and her worst fears were true. She was way off course, heading in the wrong direction as the lightning storm intensified. She glanced at the passenger seat and the sack of cash. Hers was a heroic mission, a mission for the children at the orphanage. She picked up the money earlier in the evening, nearly $100,000 from a reclusive benefactor. She had to deliver it to the bank by 9 a.m. The benefactor was from out of state. The bank was in the city. Should she be late, the bank would foreclose on the orphanage, leaving 60 children without a roof over their heads. "Oh, brother," she said, as another bolt of lightning struck somewhere ahead. For a moment, it was light enough to see the entire landscape, but there was not much to see. Trees with gnarled fingers reached down from either side of the road. With the wind whipping them, they seemed to beckon to her. "Come steer to us! Crash your car here!" She drove on, not heeding them, clutching the steering wheel until her knuckles turned white. Then it happened. The engine stalled, as is inevitably the case in stories like this. A glance at the instrument panel told her the whole story. She was out of gas. How could she have been so foolish as to not fill up when she turned off the interstate? Jessica rolled her eyes. She coasted until she found a safe place to pull over on the narrow, curvy road. It was a driveway carved between the trees. Houses were few and far between, so she should consider herself lucky for this find. "Yeah, real lucky," she said in disbelief over this entire situation. Another strike of lightning illuminated a wrought iron gate crossing the drive. Beyond that, at about 100 feet up, was a Victorian house. The gate was slightly ajar, and there was a light on in one of the house's upstairs windows. She reached to the back seat and grabbed her rain poncho and a flashlight. It was late, but she hoped whoever was home would understand and let her call for road service, and perhaps let her wait out the storm. She slipped into her rain gear and prepared herself to make a mad dash to the front door. "Hold on! Wait a second," she said before jumping out. She took the flashlight and trained it on the imposing wrought iron gate. There was a sign on it. Aha! She tried to make out the words. It read, "Dr. Zachariah taxidermist." Knowing now who awaited her, Jessica prepared herself for that dash to the house. "But wait, there's more," she said, flashlight still on the sign. Another small line of print. It says, "and mad scientist." Deciding it must be a flavor of local humor, yet one more time, Jessica prepared herself for that dash to the house. She opened the car door. "You must be crazy if you think I'm going in there. I'm waiting right here. I've got my cell phone, I've got AAA, and I'll stay here until road service arrives." "No, you're going up to that house and ringing the doorbell. The mad scientist and his Igor-type assistant are peering at you already from the belfry window. They've got everything prepared for an exciting story. I'm not moving from this spot." "You have to." No way, no how. I'm not going up there. Who knows what kind of situation I'd be getting myself into. Let me explain something to you. I'm the writer. You're the character. It's my job to put you into inescapable predicaments. And using your wits and the meager resources I throw at you, you'll come out victorious in the end. But before that, you'll be chased around by the mad scientist and his equally mad assistant. Of course, they'll eventually catch you, and when they do, they'll tie you up in chains down in their dungeon. And as you're tied there, struggling to break free of your bounds, you're going to watch as the mad scientist prepares some bubbling concoction made of a disgustingly green fluid. Then you're going to look on in horror as Igor turns on a giant machine by throwing a monster-sized knife switch on the wall. You'll get to hear as the electricity courses through the machinery while it hums up to speed. You'll scream in horror as you watch as they prepare the instruments which will turn you into their serving robot. And then the mad scientist will approach you as you continue to struggle in your bounds, and he will make his maniacal laugh. Wah! Stop right there! Don't you think this a bit too much? Your storyline reeks of a bad black and white movie. And what's all this about a sack of cash for the orphans on a dark and stormy night? Who are you kidding? Jessica looked into the rearview mirror to check her eyeshadow. When I'm written into a story, I expect to be treated right. After all, I go to the trouble of dressing for the part, doing my hair and makeup, getting into the right frame of mind. Some date this has turned out to be. You're forgetting something. You're not real. I made you up out of my imagination. And you're going to do exactly what I tell you. And right now, I'm telling you to go up to that house, ring the doorbell, and ask to use the phone. No way, I'm not doing anything of the kind. What kind of dumb blonde do you take me for? It's the only way you can proceed. I've written you into a tight situation. You have to go up to the house if you want to move this story along. I'll see about that, Jessica said, as she fumbled in her handbag for the phone. She pressed 911. Hello? I'd like to report a case of bad writing. I see. Where are you now, ma'am? The dispatcher said. I'm in front of a spooky old house. The sign says Dr. Zacharias, taxidermist and mad scientist. I know where that is. Have you gone into the house yet? No. Good. We advise that you don't. And your car is disabled? Yes, it is. Out of gas or a flat? Out of gas. Yes, you certainly are a victim of bad writing. We'll send an officer by with a can of gas. And for what it's worth, the Zum place has been slated for destruction years ago. It's old and cliche, and it isn't used in today's modern stories. It's only standing because of the county's budget issues. Stay in the car, and if the writer tries to get fresh with you, like sending down a space monster or werewolf, call us back. The patrol car should be there in a few minutes. Thanks, I'll be waiting. Jessica clicked off the phone. Are you happy now? Happier than I was, because now there's no story. Sorry about ruining your plot, but I'm not changing my mind. Then I think there's just one more thing I need to write. What's that? The end. Wah, wah. Nice.
She just kicked herself right off the page.
Nice.
And I have to say, I love the way you read.
You are so sweet.
You're
Thank
really
you.
good.
Expressive.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Very
awesome.
nice.
Thank you.
Any story that starts
the
with,
teacher in
it was
me.
a dark and stormy night,
Yes.
has to be a good story.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, I made the mistake of trying to correct it,
yeah,
Yes.
and you tricked me.
Yes.
yeah.
You tricked me, you led me down a false
Yep.
path, and it was you pulled the rug right out from
Yeah.
under my reading.
Yeah, same here.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah.
the question is, though, when the writing needs a little fixing, did you do it on purpose or not? Right?
Good question.
There's some of both, I think, in here.
There's a lot of inexperience in there. This I wrote many years ago when I first started writing as an avocation. And so you're probably right, there's room for improvements.
Yeah, there's some tense problems
Yeah.
here,
Mhm.
like where you use the past perfect versus past tense.
sorry, grammatical tense.
And
yes.
there's, I put in a lot of suggestions in terms of like rephrasing in places that you may use or you may not use when you look at the markup. But most of those, I think, it's a matter of, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. There are a couple of things that were a little puzzling to see. Like the part about the rain pounding. Where is this on here?
First paragraph.
Yeah, and what I changed it to was with the pounding of the rain, she wasn't sure if she'd missed the road sign and was driving along some back road. The other way is a little bit more confusing and harder to follow.
Mhm.
And most of my corrections, that's what it is. It's where something's a little bit more complicated than it needs to be. Or the word choice may be questionable.
Yeah, like on page, where is it? No, I'm on a spot here. Oh, I mean the middle of page 2, with the paragraph that says, hold on, wait a second, she said before jumping out. So then there was a sign on it, aha. Instead of saying she tried to make out the words, you can just say she squinted.
Ah,
You know,
nice.
it's
Yeah.
it's just little things like that tighten up the writing.
Yeah, a lot of places where you can just take the right word and eliminate 2 or 3 words.
Right.
Yeah. But I thought it was really good. I mean, at the bottom of the first page, you're kind of giving us a hint because you say, then the engine stalled, as is inevitably the case in stories like this.
That gave
Kind
it away.
of,
Yes.
kind of breaking that
Yes.
fourth wall. And
Except
then,
for people like me who missed
But
it.
I'm not sure though that's, actually I'm almost thinking that you could shorten some of this prelude because, Yeah, once you get there, the game is up.
Yeah, exactly.
The jib
Yes.
is up.
No,
So
I don't think it should be shortened
Okay.
at all, no.
Then
not at
that's,
all. And then it's great when, on top of page 3, you have, the voice of the author God
Right.
talking to her. And then at the bottom of the page, it's great because she's really feisty. She's fighting
oh, I
back.
Yeah,
love
like
that
that.
part.
Yes.
She's mouthing off to the
Right.
writer.
Oh,
Right.
yes, yes.
It's
That was
very
good.
much like a play where the actor turns and faces the audience.
Yes.
It just breaks down that fourth wall, as you said.
Yeah.
But there's one place
and all
where
that.
I think that it starts to come down, but doesn't quite. It's at the top of page 2, and its houses were few and far between, so she should consider herself lucky for this find, where it's not really in her head, and it's not really from
Right.
the author. It's just kind of I don't even know whether to call it a POV shift or just kind of like it's skewed off the rail just a little
Yeah, I
bit,
just took the sentence out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Probably
which works.
necessary.
And also, there is on the same page,
Well, that's a good question in the meantime.
Okay, you can
On the
ask your
second
question.
page, what did you think about when she started reading all the signs out loud? My mother does that.
Father-in-law does that.
How can it be wrong?
yeah, I was questioning that because I thought
Yes.
that could have been done otherwise. Although the fact that this is so cliche
Right.
is exactly how they do it in
Right.
bad movies. Is they
Yes.
read it out loud and there's another line.
Right, right.
So I kind of, some of the things that I said probably shouldn't be taken seriously in my notes.
Now,
The-
the only thing I would really change about the ending is the fact that she's pushing back on the author, but the author is in ultimate control, so.
Apparently he isn't.
No, I
well.
like
He
the
is, he ended
control.
her.
Well, okay, so that's the question, is how should it end?
Right.
Because right now it's, he says, or the author says, then I think there's just one more thing I need to write. She says, what's that? And then there's the end, all right? So, to me, the author wins.
Right.
But what if she says something after that?
Yes, yes.
That's
Oh,
what you think.
that's clever, I like that idea.
I mean, she can either, that can be the end of her. I
You
mean,
know-
she could scream out, no, or she could say, we'll see about that.
Right,
or-
she's fine.
Maybe like the
Something
author, she
like
can
that.
somehow make the author get so upset that he falls and bumps his head and he falls on the keyboard.
Then you start another story
No,
and
But
it
he-
keeps
but he
popping back
falls
up.
But if he falls on the keyboard, then the keys keep moving, and then it's just,
We're gonna have a
That
whole
hurts.
novel for you here.
that's right.
Before we
Of
finish.
ease.
Anyway,
I-
I thought at the end, I thought she should have the last line.
I like
Yes.
that idea,
Yeah.
that's clever.
I would
That's nice.
recommend.
What do you think of that?
What do you think of that? What do you think of that?
That suggestion. He's going deaf again.
Yeah.
I would suggest putting the writer's words in italics, not underlined. It's a little more
Okay.
subtle. But I noticed the end is not underlined, so it looks like just the end of the story. That's
Oh, yeah.
I think that was the right way to handle it, though.
Yes, yes. And I must say, I really appreciated your reference to the Greek sirens at the start.
Oh, okay.
Trees with gnarled fingers reached down and said, "Come steer to us, crash your car here." I really like that illusion.
You know what, I read this ahead of time, and I really liked it even more the second time I read it, because then I could really appreciate what was going on the entire time.
Yes, I
Right.
kind of, when I was reading it over and over, I realized that a reader would get more out of it the second time
Yeah.
through.
Which is
because
fine.
Which they're probably
Yeah.
going to do.
You don't know
They
what's
wanna get to
going
the
on.
end.
Well, that's why I think
That's
that a little bit of a clue early on might potentially give you more of the effect of the reader having, if the reader's got a little bit of an idea of what this actually is, it's easier to appreciate the story for what it is. So it's just a suggestion. I don't know exactly how you would actually do that, so I can't give you a good suggestion there, but
It's kind of cool that people would read it again,
Yes.
right? That's
Right.
that's
Yeah.
Flattering,
nice.
Exactly.
yes.
Does anyone, oh,
Go ahead.
no, I'm all set, I just want to check in with everyone.
okay,
I'd like to see this written or hear it as a radio drama.
Yes,
Oh, yeah, that
yes,
could be
that'd be
fun.
marvelous.
It's easy to picture.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
You'd have somebody
No,
off
it's easy to
stage
listen.
reading the first couple of
Yes.
paragraphs, you'd have her talking,
Yes.
then you'd have the author, the God voice come
Right.
down.
Booming.
and- yeah.
Yeah, that's a That's a thought.
And I think that the problem with cars should be a burned out imagination coil.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
And I put,
Or a failure of the standards regulator.
when the guy on the phone said, and your car is disabled, I said, that's kind of a weird description. Usually someone would say, use broken down, is your car broken down? But then I put, it could be bad writing.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
good.
So,
Yes.
Great.
oh, good.
Nice
you.
job. Thank you for
Very
Thank
joining.
you
Very
so
good.
much for joining us. It's been
It's
really
my
great
pleasure.
to have you with
And
us.
bring
Great
us more.
turnout, right.
Yep.
All right, well, thank you everyone for joining us for this episode of Writers Infusion.
And now we get
So,
to
what do you
talk
think of the
randomly.
Patriots?
Yeah, I
All right,
We're
well, that
gonna
was
win
fun.
tomorrow.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
fun.
so-
I really enjoyed it.
Oh, so
glad-
And you're such a good reader.
Oh, you're
You are
so
sweet.
sweet.
Yeah.
Thank
Here
you. But
are
it
my-
is good to get a story
Snow,
like
you need
that where you
snow.
want to read it again, because I've read it like 6 times now.
Yes, I'm actually glad I didn't try to read it myself after all, because
Julie's a great reader.
You get something out of it
Yeah.
with somebody else reading it. You
Yeah.
get to see
Yeah.
it.
My
Well,
mom's
sometimes
a
it goes the other way,
librarian. I'm a
because I've
teacher.
Yeah.
just read that it's just destroyed.